Hello, if you turn in your selective studies book to page 8, this piece is called D minor. First, let's look at the key signature. You'll see that there's only one flat, which is B flat. And so you can mark these throughout the piece if you want, but just remember that if you do go into an audition room, sometimes the music that they provide for you doesn't actually have these articulations. You might have to double check with your band director to see if you can bring in your own music. Next, let's look at the time signature. We're in 6/8, meaning that there are 6 eighth notes per measure. Next, let's look at the tempo. So it's andante, which is also 92. Now, this 92 is going to be set to the 16th, or the 8th note, excuse me. Play this here. And I'll just play at the very beginning. Ready? Yeah, it does seem slow, but if you actually look further down, you'll notice that, well, there's 30-second notes down here, and whenever you play those at this speed, they end up becoming pretty fast. So this is the line, so this is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so right there, you can see the tempo all of a sudden comes back pretty fast. And so it's going to be very important, especially right at the very beginning of this piece, to make sure that you are playing it slowly. It might be helpful to go to the faster portion of your music and determine how fast you want to play those at, and then figure out the tempo from there. Then go back to the very beginning and then play at that tempo. It will also help whenever you're practicing through this piece to make sure that you're playing with a metronome so that you're not playing too fast. At the very beginning, you'll notice that the first dynamic is piano. It also says expressive right beside that. And so to play expressively, we want to make sure that everything that we play is very well connected and that we are continuing our airstream throughout everything. Every single time we are tonguing a note, we want to make sure it's very light tongue, just right on the very tip of the reed, and that we're not really cutting off each note. Another important thing would be the breath marks in this piece too. So I'm going to show you the music, and you can pause it and go ahead and mark where the breath marks are throughout this piece. So you'll see right here I have the first breath mark on measure 4. Next, we're going to look at some of the passages that are a little more challenging. So these actually might be with the trills. Originally, when you first play trills, or they're notated as TR, you might even want to leave them out, especially on anything that's a little bit faster. But in this case, it might be even good to put them in right at the very beginning. Unless you're having trouble, then leave them out just temporarily while you're practicing to make sure you have the rhythm correct. So look at the 4th line and the first measure there. This is also measure 15. And you'll see that there's a trill there, and we also have a natural underneath of it. So this trill is going to go up to G, but instead of going from F to G, so you can see here F to G like this, we're actually going to play F, the standard F, and then we're just going to lift up this first finger like this. It sounds something like this. You can see if I play F to G, it sounds very similar. But this way you're only lifting one finger instead of all 3 fingers at the same time. It's not good to play G normally like this, but because this is a trill fingering, it's okay. It allows us to play it faster, and even though it does sound a little more huffy. I'm going to play at the very beginning of that measure, which is the measure 15, and you just hear how it sounds at first, and then I'll play a couple more times and you can play along with me. So again, thinking through the slower tempo, da 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 da, which is the faster notes. 1, 2. And again, right from the very beginning, and so here we go, 5, 6. Two more times, ready? Here we go. And the last note, now think about it as the staccato, and also decrescendo this whole entire passage. So start a little bit louder. Ready? Here we go. So I'm just trilling a few times in between there, but making sure to keep with the same tempo. And look at the line right below that. This is measure 18. There's more trills here. I'm just going to play through each one of these so you can really hear them. Here we go. Ready? Go. So you can see I made sure to take a big breath right before that. That's also where I had a breath mark marked in. And so make sure you have it marked in right there because you want to make sure that we can finish up this whole entire line. So here we go, back at the trills at measure 18, the fifth line. Ready? Here we go. And again, ready? Here we go. Just like that. A couple more things that I want to point out is the trill on the very last line. And so this is the measure 32, or the very last line in the second measure in. This trill is very long and you really want to make sure that you're counting it out for the full 6th, 8th notes. And it's going to feel too long, but just work with a metronome and make sure that you are counting in your head, or even just gently tapping your toes as you're playing through this to make sure that you're counting. The second line from the bottom, it starts on D. This is also measure 29. And it goes from low D to a high D by the end of the line with a crescendo at the end. This is a chromatic scale, and so you can even write above it CHRO or fully write out chromatic. And if you practice your chromatic scale, this will definitely help with this passage right here. To backtrack, just go up 2 more lines from there. This is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, line 8, and the second measure in. This is measure 27. So if you look at this measure, one way to help you play this is to mark in where your downbeats are, or the clicks of where the metronome will be. I'm going to play this for you so you can hear what it sounds like. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and start on measure 26, the very beginning of that line, starting on E. So here we go, 1, 2, 3. Right there. And so this part here that goes, which is measure 27, that second line there. What you can do right here is to, with your pencil, mark in right above that where your downbeats are. This will help it so you don't get lost in the midst of this, and it will help you count it too. I'm going to mark those in, and I'm going to show you what I've done here. So each place where I have a mark, that's going to be beat 1, beat 2, beat 3, beat 4, beat 5, and beat 6. And right there I have big written next to a breath mark, meaning that I need to take a big breath so that I can go from here, play this whole entire line, and then finish right here. All right, and I think that's it for this piece. Thank you.